probably heard me talk about how much I hate options. And this isn't because I think there's something wrong with buying options. Whether it's call options or put options, I don't have a problem with other people doing it. I'm just really bad at it. And in this episode, I wanted to give special attention to a particular put option trade that I did on Silver's ETF that lasted more than 18 months and nearly took my head off. If you've been following precious metals at all, you'll know that it's a very cyclical kind of investment. What that means is over time, sometimes it will go up in value and sometimes it goes down in value. Additionally, anyone who's a silver bug or a gold bug is always bullish on it. And they always will tell you that this is it. It's about to rocket and moon into space. It sounds a lot like cryptocurrencies, doesn't it? But at any rate, let me take you back in time to May of 2021, where all the silver bugs told us that this was going to be it. Silver was about to rocket from the 20s all the way up in the 50s and maybe even into triple digits. And all this talk actually got me quite bullish on silver. I have owned some physical bullion in the past and I thought, okay, well maybe I'll make a play on the SLV ETF, which tracks the price of silver. However, since I don't like buying options because you actually have to spend money to buy them, and then if it doesn't make the move in the amount of time that you thought, it will expire worthless, I came up with this great idea that I would sell put options. For those of you who don't know, what I'm doing when I'm selling a put option is I'm telling someone else that I'll buy 100 shares for each put that I sell them at whatever price I tell them I'm going to buy it at. In this case, I was telling them that I would buy 100 shares of SLV at $25 a share, and that I would do it all the way out until January 20th of 2023. Keep in mind, it was May 18th of 2021 at the time when I decided to go through with this trade. So I sold the put options for $3.75 a share. And every put option contract is sold in quantities of 100 shares. So that meant I got paid $375 for each put I sold. However, this also meant that I was obligated to buy 100 shares of SLV at $25 for each put I sold. In other words, I was risking $2,500 for every put I sold because I'd have to buy SLV at that price. And the key thing to remember is when you're selling puts at a particular price, it doesn't matter how low that investment asset goes, you will have to buy it at that price. However, I was using what's called cash secured puts. This means I wasn't selling them naked. I had enough money in the pandemic portfolio for every put I sold. But it meant that I would end up with a really large quantity of SLV if it went backwards on me. But like I said, at the time, I was bullish, so I didn't mind having a big SLV position. Except then this happened. Throughout 2021 and 2022, SLV kind of went bottoms up. Big shocker, I know, but the silver bugs were wrong, and this was not the time that SLV was going to take off. But it ended up going the wrong way, particularly when inflation hit and the Federal Reserve Bank started raising interest rates. Rising interest rates are a bad thing for precious metal values, and it showed in both gold and silver. Silver ended up bottoming on September 1st of 2022, down here at $16.19. And I'd gotten lucky. I had decided that I needed to open a position in SLV because at this point it had sold off dramatically from where I was going to have to buy those shares. And by dramatically, I mean it was a 33.2% drop from where I'd have to buy the shares at $25 to silver's low at $16.19. On August 31st of 2022, I bought some shares of SLV at $16.70. Now, it wasn't going to be enough to completely offset how many shares I was going to have to buy if I was assigned, but it would take some of the edge off. And I just couldn't have it be down 33% without adding something to the portfolio. Now, any long-term options trader will tell you that what I'm doing is absolutely the wrong thing. I should have just taken the loss, I should have used stops or something, and I should have gotten out of the trade. But like I said, I was really bullish. So here we are in August. We're only 5 months away from expiration, and I am upside down to the tune of 33.2%. However, I got lucky. It's like they say, better lucky than good. Silver ended up increasing in value from August of 2021 all the way through January of 2022. And when it was a week before my options would expire, I decided it was time to close the trade because I was actually profitable at that point. So I closed the puts at $2.73. What that means is since I sold the puts at $3.75, I'd have to buy them back But if I could buy them back for anything less than where I sold them, I get to pocket the difference as profit. So the end result is that I got 27.2% in gains on just the put trade. However, since I bought shares of SLV near its bottom, I was able to make a gain of over 40% from where I started to where I am now. And when I closed out the puts, I sold enough of the shares of the SLV that I bought that the remaining shares are now just a free lottery ticket that I get to hold on SLV. Now, I'm not telling you this story to brag. This is definitely not a look what I did right story. This is a better lucky than good story, and that's why I wanted to share it. And even though I protected my risk because these were cash secured puts, in other words, I had enough cash in the portfolio in case I was assigned, you could see how easy it is for a new investor or trader to get carried away and become over leveraged. I've been in the markets for 25 years, and even though I know how options work, I'm just really bad at fabricating the trades sometimes. And even though this one worked out for me, take it as a cautionary tale. If you do decide to get into options, be very careful and make sure you know all of the risk you're taking on, because it can go upside down in a hurry. If you like this video, please hit like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.